God, people are weird. Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be doing a story time. Woo! So yeah, you guys probably weren't expecting this, huh? I am just a video making machine right now. So anyway, the point of making a story time video is because I wanted to tell this story now that I have enough distance from it to not really be mad anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still mad. I still do not. There's no excuse for what this person did, but basically, I'm still mad, but I'm not like going to get visibly angry, and also I have enough distance from it that I'm not in touch with basically anyone else from Quotive anymore, because this happened on Quotive and I didn't want anyone to track down this girl or find her, and so, again, I think Frederica and Jackie, I haven't talked to either of them in a long time, so I'm very much not in touch with anyone from Quotive anymore. Outside of that, I really am not. I wanted to stay in touch with some people, but I still have a couple people's emails and stuff, but I doubt we're ever going to talk again. I just at this point, it's just was ruined so much by that experience that I really don't want to talk to any of them. Not because they weren't good people, but just because it was just a bad situation. So this was me being very naive. This was about a year ago. This was actually before my 16th birthday. So if you don't know me, I was not allowed to be on social media until I was 16. Now I had a blogger when I was 13. I had a blogger. I had Google account, Gmail, blogger. So blogger, I had a blogger and I posted to my blog. Now the thing about this is that I posted writing to my blog. I wrote stuff and posted to my blog. So I have to start by explaining this fandom and the situation that this was. So this was not too long after Infinity War came out when I joined Quotive and got into Quotive. Now, Infinity War, spoilers ahead, but basically I was upset about, I can't really avoid the whole Loki and Tom Hiddleston thing, because you'll see why. So basically, I was upset about what happened in Infinity War, basically, and I wanted to talk to someone about it, but everyone I knew had either not seen the movie yet, had seen it and was sick of me talking about it, or had seen it and didn't care about the characters that I cared about. So I was really desperate to talk to people, and because I wasn't allowed on social media, I was on this platform, Quotive, and I thought Quotive was just a site you could write stuff. I didn't really think it was social media. I thought you could just post like comments and stuff like you would on a blog, because I had a blog. Now, going into Quotive, again, it's more like, I understand Wattpad is pretty similar. I've never actually been on Wattpad, so if you're familiar with Wattpad, you can go ahead and say it down below. But, anyway, Quotive, very weird, site. So, again, I'm going to say that I personally had a very odd experience with this site. So I made a few friends on this site kind of tentatively. I was scared to be talking to strangers. I wasn't really supposed to be, but I did anyway because I was desperate to talk to some people about Loki and Infinity War. And this was my obsessive Loki phase. I don't know if you remember that about me, but so I happened to meet this girl, and her username, I'm not gonna say what her full username was. I'm gonna call her Wyla. That was part of her username. I don't think that was her real name, but even if it was, you're probably not gonna find it through just that information. And anyway, so Wyla, so I met this girl named Wyla, and she was obviously a fan of Loki and Tom Hiddleston. And okay, so we got to talking about it, and she was just one of the random people who followed me. I ended up having a bunch of followers, which was kind of insane to me. Kind of crazy. That was my first brush with fame. I'm kidding. But, yeah, Wyla. So, this girl decided to, start talking to me, and we were like friends or whatever, so we kind of became friends. So, several things I learned about this girl very quickly is that she was 16 at the time, and that she had pictures of herself on the site which were taken when she was 14. So this girl, I don't remember exactly what she looked like, and but she was, I think, like reddish hair. I don't actually remember, but a little bit chubby, but not like fat. Okay, and she kept insisting that she was fat and ugly and all this stuff. That she kept insisting this and I'm kind of like, no, you look fine, and she's like, keeps saying, no, that was 2 years ago, I'm even fatter now, and this and that and the other, and like having this conversation, and I'm just like, okay, it was just very weird. The other thing about this girl, outside of her being very depressed, a couple other things I learned about her is that her mother is crazy and bipolar and will lock her in her room to keep her from escaping or running away. So that's what she tells me. Again, whether any of this was true, I highly doubt and don't know for sure, but I'll never know for sure if any of this was true or not, but I feel like a lot of it wasn't, and we'll get to why later. But anyway, at the time, I believed all of it, and I considered her my friend, and I was very, very upset. Now, another thing that Wyla mentioned to me was that she was a lesbian, but she used to be bisexual, and that she was dating this girl on Quotive who was about 13, and we'll call her Ashley. That was not her real name or her username, but we're going to call her Ashley. And so Ashley was about 13, and again, they were dating, and I put that in quotes because they had never met in real life. Ashley lived in Canada. I don't know where Wyla lived, if she was somewhere in the U.S., but they had never met in real life, and so there was that. So anyway, they were like close friends, and they were dating, and Ashley had a lot of the same issues. Both of them were very depressed, very suicidal, which is not something to make light of at all. And I'm not sure how much of this was real or fake, but it gets weird. So basically, I start talking to them for a little while, and at some point, me and Wyla have been chatting, and Ashley, and we've just chatted a little bit back and forth, and Wyla is just really depressed and keeps saying she doesn't know what to do with her life, and she's really depressed, and she wants to meet Tom Hiddleston and Tom Holland, and she's really upset, and I'm like, I'm sure you meet them someday, and she's like, no, like, and she's like, whatever, like, upset, and I'm like, dude, I'm really sorry. I was like, trying to be nice, and you know, help this girl out. So then one day she posts on her public feed to go follow this account, and she says, go follow this account, and this account goes by the name Tom Hiddleston, and it's not the real Tom Hiddleston, she says, but he's a really nice guy, and you know, you should go follow him. So I went and followed this account, and this incident ends up happening where so a few days later, this Tom Hiddleston guy, we're gonna call him Bob just to simplify things. So Bob posts on the feed that have you heard, like, post or DMs. I actually don't think he posted on feed. I think he DM'd a few of us who were supposedly close friends with Wiley. Or Wyla. I call her like Wile E. Coyote in my head too. So Wyla. A couple of us who were close friends with Wyla. He DMs a few of us, and he asks if I've heard about the Wyla incident, and I'm like, what incident? What happened? And he says to me, she was in a car accident, and she got metal lodged in her leg, and it's like really infected, and the doctors don't know if she's gonna make it. And I was like, holy shit, that's scary. I probably didn't say holy shit, but yeah, it was pretty scary. So I was very worried about this girl. At this point, nobody even knew I had a quota because I didn't want to tell my dad, because whatever. So I was very, very worried about this girl, and this guy keeps talking to me and saying the doctors don't think she's gonna make it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you have to tell Ashley. And he's like, nobody's telling Ashley because they didn't want her to worry. And I'm like, no, you have to tell Ashley. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll tell Ashley. And then basically it's just all that. And this girl, he keeps saying, and I'm like, okay, and then he says that he's in the room with her, and I'm like, oh wait, first of all, she's in surgery and he's in the room with her, it's just weird. But I wasn't even thinking about that. Again, I believed all this at the time. Looking back, a lot of it was extremely fishy, and I'll tell you what I think happened at the end of the video. But anyway, Bob was in the room with her supposedly, and I asked him, what's your relationship with her, like how do you know her? And he's like, well, I'm her ex. And I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, we're still friends, but like, I'm her ex. And I'm just kind of like, okay, that's a little bit odd that he was, her ex IRL, but still friends with her, and she's now dating this girl online who she's never met. So anyway, basically, a few minutes later, everyone's freaking out. I think this girl's gonna die. I'm upset. I'm freaking out. All of her friends are freaking out. And then a few minutes later, she posts something, and I ask, who's this? Because I thought it was someone on her account. And she's like, because I think Bob posted something like, please pray for Wyla, this and that and the other, and then she was like, thank you. She came on and she was like, thank you, and then she said, and then I asked, who is this? And she said, it's me. I got out of surgery, I made it through, I got my phone back. Which, looking back, again, at the time I believed all of this, looking back, it seems really fishy that they would give someone their phone back like 5 minutes after they get out of surgery. Like, oh, you got out of surgery, here's your phone, you're good. Like, if you almost had a brush with death, I don't think they'd be just handing you your phone, like, casually. But anyway, that's beside the point. So, for now, so I believed all of this, of course, and as you're listening to the story, you're probably like, Raya, what the heck? Why did you believe all of this? This is all so extremely fishy and made up. This is so catfishy. This is so made up. And I agree now. But at the time, this was one of my first times I talked to people online, and I really didn't know what to believe and what not to believe. And it was just I agree, I was dumb. But anyway, going farther into this story. So again, this guy is supposedly her ex, and so she gets out of surgery just fine, and everything's whatever, dandy. So then I decide I'm going to leave Quota because it's been stressing me out and I don't want to get in trouble. I told one of my friends who I trust that all about that, and I asked her to tell my dad or whatever, and then I said I was leaving, and then everyone was okay, but my dad was fine because I was leaving. But but by then I had turned 16 and I had social media, so I asked if anyone else wanted my Instagram or Twitter to stay in touch, and a couple people gave me their Instagram, Twitter, email, whatever. And so Wyla said that she only had email and Discord. I said, I don't use Discord. Do you want my email? So we exchanged emails, and then Ashley ended up asking me if I had Facebook, and I was kind of like, I don't really want to give out my Facebook. I just don't generally give out my Facebook. I mostly use Facebook for family and friends, close people, IRL. I really don't give out my Facebook that much, but I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I just did it because I wanted to stay in touch with her, and I felt weird, and so I did give her my Facebook, or I found her on Facebook, or I searched for it. I can't remember how we connected on Facebook. But anyway, again, this whole story is very, very weird, very messed up. So, anyway, so this girl, is now my Facebook friend. I just got Facebook for the first time, and I ended up blocking her on that account. Actually, that Facebook account got completely, like, I don't know if it got hacked or if it just got, like, I got locked out of it, and I couldn't access it anymore, so I had to make another Facebook account. So I don't even know, I have, like, no relationship, no history with her on this account. And again, so on the current Facebook account I have, which I've had for about 6 months now, because that original Facebook account, I don't actually have that account anymore. But anyway, or I can't get back into it. So again, this story is really weird. So getting back to the real meat of the story. So basically, Ashley texts me one day on Facebook and says, I'm really depressed, I'm really upset, I want to kill myself, all this stuff, because Wyla dumped me for this other girl on Quotive, and I'm not really sure what was going on, and it was just sad. So a lot of people had roleplay accounts on Quotive, so I should mention there was this other girl who went by, like, Natasha Romanoff, but was, like, also friends with them or something, or, like, friends with Wyla, and, so, anyway, so she says she dumped me for this random, like, this other girl on Quotive, and that she was really upset about it, and I'm like, well, I'm really sorry, like, and I was freaking out, because I didn't know, like, I didn't want her to commit suicide. So, then I needed to see what was up. I was really worried. I wasn't, Ashley was not responding to any of my texts, and I was freaking out, so I decided I need to go on Quotive and see what's going on. So I went on Quotive, and I had to make another account, because I deleted, I deactivated, so I had to make another account, and I went in with, like, a ghost account, and, like, read over this public post from 6 days earlier. So keep in mind, Ashley had said that she'd been dumped, like, 2 days ago, so the timeline of this doesn't add up. But this post from, like, 6 days earlier, which was a public thread, by the way, all of this that was there was completely public. Seems kind of odd, huh? I'll say that. And right now, before I even get into this, the fact that this was all public, obviously it was made up for attention. Like, that's the only reason. Like, because this story is just so crazy. So, basically, Lila is talking to this other girl, and I don't even know who this other girl is. I don't know if she's the new girlfriend or, like, who this girl is. We're gonna call her Brianna. So, she's talking to this girl, Brianna, and, I have no idea who this person is, and it's just very weird. And basically, Ashley's there too in this whole chat, and Lila basically keeps saying that she's now running away from the hospital, and that her mom is chasing her, which is very weird. Also, how the hell are you running if you're still in the hospital for your leg? Again, none of this adds up looking back. But at the time, I believed all of it, which was very dumb of me. So she basically says that she's running away from the hospital, that her mom is chasing her, and she's chatting, and she's upset about how much she hates her mom, and Ashley's like, come to Canada with me. And then I get the impression that this Brianna girl isn't with her, like, in person, but then it turns out that she is, and I don't know if she's, like, a friend in person, or if she's close, or, like, who this girl is at all. I don't have no idea who this person is. So, just whatever weird conversation is going on, and, basically it gets to a point where they are at, this, apparently, I don't know if she gets to the house, or she's still, I don't know where she is, but anyway, that Lila is now getting beaten by her mother, supposedly. And again, this none of this is to be taken lightly. Like, I'm not trying to make light of any of this, of child abuse, suicide, whatever. I'm not trying to make light of any of this, but the fact that this was used for clout and attention, again, I'll get to that. So, this whole thing is just so weird. So, his story, and I'm freaking out reading this 6 days later, and Ashley was freaking out at the time, and then it was like, she looks dead, because the Brianna person started texting on both accounts, on Lila's phone and on her own phone, and was starting to say all this stuff, like, she looks dead, like, this and that and the other, which is really weird to me. Why was she texting on both phones, and why didn't she call the cops? Like, I that's a weird question, like, why didn't she call the cops? Like, this is weird, like, okay, so I was reading this, I was panicking, and then I realized something. Hey, wait a minute, this was 6 days ago. Ashley said she got dumped 2 days ago by Lila, so obviously she's not dead. So I was just kind of like, okay. So then I was like, so then I saw a thread from a couple days earlier, which said something about, or a couple days after this incident, but before she got, or before Ashley messaged me about getting dumped, and she said something like, you dumped me for another girl, and then Lila's like, what? No, I didn't. And this was just like some thread I saw, and Ashley was mad about it, and that's when he messaged me. So I realized this doesn't make sense, because either one of them is lying, either it just seems weird that you'd be like, oh, you survived this, and then you just dumped her casually, and that either one of them is lying, and I couldn't figure out what's going on, but at the time, I was trying to believe one or both of them. I was really upset, I didn't know what was happening, I freaked out, I started talking to my dad, I'm like, we need to call, like, this, like, child abuse. He's like, we can't do anything, we don't even know where she lives, and I was just, like, so upset, I was freaking out, and then it took a while for the dust to settle. I ended up, I think I ended up hearing from Ashley, and I actually don't remember. I ended up blocking her on Facebook because I didn't want to have her on Facebook anymore. I did have her on Instagram, I don't actually remember, but I ended up, oh yeah, and also, I had gotten an email. Oh, I'd been trying to email Lila and couldn't email her and all this stuff, I don't even know. But anyway, I basically after the dust settled, like, at the time, I didn't want to believe my dad, like, this isn't someone making this up, like, this is real, these are my friends, like, this and that and the other, like, we need to help them, and then, once all the dust settles, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, none of this makes sense. Now, before you say, well, what if it was real, then you're being really mean to assume, you know, all this, stuff happened. Now, I can't say for 100% that this wasn't real, but, come on, like, I have no proof that she was lying, but, obviously not all of it makes sense. One of them was lying at some point, and, but based on all of the information, based on the whole, I'm bi, but now I'm lesbian, I'm fat, I hate myself, my mom's crazy, but then, oh, I had a car accident, I'm in the hospital, I'm dying, oh wait, I have my phone back. And then it's like, oh wait, like, I'm getting beat up, I'm dying, and then, oh wait, I have my phone back later, and like, everything's fine now, like, 2 days later, and then, oh, she dumped me, but oh, she didn't dump me, or I didn't dump you, yes you did, and like, all this shit, and just like, oh yeah, also, when I saw, I thought, I thought Wilo's account was hacked at first when I went back to Quotive before I saw this whole thread, because the account looked different and it was like made with like the Natasha Romanoff chick. So anyway, I thought someone maybe took over her account, and I thought she had like died and someone took over her account. But anyway, she didn't die. Nobody died as far as I know. But anyway, looking back to all this, I'm like, none of this adds up. It just seems very weird that like she was still in good terms of her ex, who was like right there in the room, and like this and that and the other. And it's just like, looking back on all of it, I was realizing something. And this is what I think happened. I can't confirm for sure, but personally, I think that both Bob and Brianna were her on separate accounts. Now, her ex, Bob, the Tom Hiddleston kid, and the Natasha Romanoff girl also may have been her on another account. And I feel like all of them were her on other accounts, because the whole time when she's making up this dramatic story and Brianna's just sitting there not doing anything, not calling the cops, supposedly texting on both phones, like, she's dead, like this, that, and the other, none of that makes sense to me. Like, she's just sitting there and letting it happen. I personally think that she made up this friend to make it seem like it was more real, but that it was her on two separate accounts. And the whole thing of her ex, I also think was her on two separate accounts. I can't say that for sure, but I get the feeling. Now, Ashley, I think was a real person as far as I know, because I did see what she looked like on Facebook and stuff. As far as I know, she was a real person. And as far as I know, she was also tricked by Wila. She might have believed, she was definitely believing everything that Wila said, and I'm not saying she's a bad person. She's just young, very naive, even more so than I was. And basically, the last time I ever heard from her was a few months ago. She randomly popped up on my Instagram feed, and I basically, because she hadn't been on Instagram in months, she basically popped up on my Instagram feed, and I DM'd her. I was like, what's going on? And she basically told me, and I was like, are you still into, like, I said she's bad, she's toxic. Like, I basically said Wila's toxic, she's bad, and she's like, I know, and then she basically said, well, we're not dating anymore. And then I'm like, okay. And then she says, well, I still RP with her, I still roleplay with her, sometimes just whatever, I roleplay forever, and I'm just kind of like, she's not gonna, like, I can't do this anymore, like, so I had to block her, because it's just, the stress from that incident was so bad that I just couldn't deal with it. So I am no longer in touch with either of them, no longer in touch with anyone from Quotive, really. So moral of the story, kids, do not believe everything you hear on the internet. I know that's a stupid thing that everyone always says, but trust me on this. And yeah, this is just absolutely insane that this happened, and that I believed all of it. I was very dumb, and yeah, I gotta admit that I was dumb, so yeah, absolutely insane. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you later. Bye!